Hey everybody, welcome to another DeLorean Tech Bring a Trailer live stream. And this car has shot up quite a bit just in the past few hours. So this is an 82 5-speed manual transmission car. It's got the wide stripe kit. It was sitting at 27.8, something like that, all throughout the morning. And just recently it started shooting up. So right now it's sitting at 45.5, which is kind of surprising given the condition the car is in. So I actually spent a little bit of time yesterday looking at the photos, and we'll go ahead and show you what those look like here. But just in general, so the car's got 16,000 miles on it. Like I said, it's a manual. It's got pretty much largely stock for the most part. One thing I did notice is that it did have the original Goodyear NCTs on it still. So it's very original. I mean, from afar, it actually looks pretty fine. But I started taking a look at some of these photos here, and I noticed quite a bit of corrosion present, especially on the suspension. So that just tells me the car probably sat outside for a long time. Here we go, Goodyear NCT 60s. So those are the original tires, I'm assuming, that came with the car. So again, just a very original car. They've actually done a few things like fuel lines, and you got the metal coolant bottle. So you have a few things that have been done to the car. I'm really surprised that it's gone up to 45.5 though. A few he's got some invoices for some stuff, but it doesn't look like it was like really major work that was done on the car. Here's a video, a walk around of the car here, and again, from afar and from with a video, it's hard to tell what flaws exist. I see a few flaws on the stainless already. I don't know if that's like pitting or if it's just dirty. So there's no dents or anything. There's a few nicks in the wide stripe that'll have to be fixed. That's probably not too hard to do. That's what I'm thinking. It's got a few scuffs on that stripe. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary with the stainless in terms of like dents and stuff. There's a little bit of sinkage there with the T-top, or the T-section, I should say. There's probably a roof box issue going on there. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't think there's a video showing the opening and closing of the doors. I'd really have liked to have seen that. Again, just by looking at these photos and stuff, you can't really tell what issues might be lurking within. So let's see what we got as far as the startup goes here. This is the cold start.
Car is cold.
Okay, he's proving that it's cold by touching the header there, so he's not burning himself. I don't like that sound. And I don't know if that's just the audio or what, but that just sounds terrible. Okay, it sounds a little better now. Well, so there's some serious hunting going on there. And I don't know what that low end sound is, though. That just sounds very odd to me. It's holding, but I don't know if he's got somebody in the car giving it a little bit, right? It's holding idle, though. Let's wait and see what happens. This is a 5-minute video, so let's just skip ahead a little bit here. Something doesn't sound right. Copper tank. Yeah, I agree. Let me see if I can pop out this chat. It just sounds really odd. So whoever's buying this, or whoever wins it, you're going to be in for some work. I mean, just the corrosion alone, replacing all of those suspension components, and I don't know what the frame is like on this car. I'm not saying this is a bad car, but I've seen similar cars at Beverly Hills Car Club, right? I've seen better cars at Beverly Hills Car Club than this one. That's not going away, so... Alright, it's starting to sound a little better now. So it took a little while to get up to warm up, I guess. I mean, it's obviously warmed up now. Oh, he's got nobody in there, so that's good. The kit idling, it's probably at 750. It's probably what, it's 775, whatever it is, right? I think the original idle speed ECU is set at like 750 hard from the factory. So that looks about right. I'd love to see what happens when you turn on the AC, though. Are we going to get that? O2 sensor kicked in, huh? Yeah. Well, that's all he's got. So let's close that out. Well, let's see, where are we at? Oh, 48. Jeez. So this has actually gone higher than the Stage 2 Hot Wheels DeLorean that I thought was a really awesome car. Way better condition than this one. Whoever got that one, that Stage 2 car, got a smoking deal. I think that one was at 47 or something like that. So this is at 48,000. A little over 10 minutes to go. And let's take a look at some of these photos here. So, I mean, from this, from this angle, it looks okay, right? And that could be what's driving the price. You see these first photos here. It really doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's no eyebrowing. At least it's not that visible here. And maybe the front fascia was replaced at some point. It's a slight amount right about here. You can barely see it, though. Let's see what else. So he cleaned it up, for the photos. Let's see here. It's a historic vehicle license plate. So it looks like the doors open up all the way. Who knows? I wonder. Well, that's a good sign, right? I mean, you can kind of see the torsion bar in there, and it doesn't look too bad. I mean, I wonder if there's any close-ups. So he's kind of showing the sinkage here. There might be some roof box issues. A lot of corrosion probably going on in there that you can't see. Again, it's stainless steel on the outside, so you're not going to see any corrosion for the most part. I've seen pitting on the stainless on some cars, and it does take a bit of work to get those out, if you can even get them out. He's got some scratches and stuff going on here. Yeah, the graining, it doesn't look all that great. A few nicks. This is probably fixable, that's what I'm thinking. That's probably nothing to really worry about. You know, headlight stuff, everything looks pretty. There's little paint chips and stuff, but for the most part, the body's not bad. Taillights are fairly okay. Yeah, you can see there's some sinkage going on here with that roof box for sure. That looks pretty new. That quality assured sticker. So maybe this car didn't sit outside. Usually these have been eaten away by the sun, assuming this is an original. This one looks practically brand new. So maybe it wasn't stored outside. Who knows? Could be a flood car though. So let's take a look at the corrosion. You can already see signs of the corrosion right here. That red on that sway bar. That's some serious corrosion there. You can replace the sway bar. You can see the corrosion here on the springs. These are the original NCTs. Obviously, that's more of like a collector item. I mean, you're obviously not going to be driving around with those really ancient tires on the car, those 40-year-old tires. But it is kind of cool to see that, right? Because that's really, you know, what came with the car. But if you want a driving car, yeah, you're gonna have to get some new tires. Not a lot of damage there. A set of tires will probably run you like $400. So here's the interior. It's got some discoloring going on in certain parts, so that's gonna have to be fixed. Let's get to the corrosion. So seat covers look pretty good. Those probably have been redone or just, you know, well preserved. Door panels. The interior doesn't really look that bad, so not a whole lot of work. I've seen worse, a lot worse. So interior doesn't look too bad. He's got it cleaned up pretty okay. I mean, it looks probably maybe a little better in some ways in my own interior. So, all right, we got to get to this corrosion here. So it's got 15,603 original miles, which is really nothing, and not necessarily a good thing, because it just basically says that it probably hasn't had all the issues worked out, and it has probably incurred those miles a long time ago. So what has been done since then? So let's get the Craighead unit. Looks a little dirty. Oh, something's cracked. Well, I don't know if that's a crack or not on the headlight button. Alright, let's get to the important stuff. Okay, there's the frunk. Everything seems to be in order there. Doesn't look too bad. That all looks okay. Engine compartment. I mean, it's kind of dirty here and there, but I mean, it doesn't look super bad. I've seen worse. Looks like some leakage here, some coolant leakage going on around the water pump. It's your water pump. Here's a water pump pulley right here, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. You can see it right here. There's a lot of green residue going on there. I don't know if that was addressed or not. These are probably the original coolant hoses in here. You can see a lot of spotting and just water spots on there. So it could be leaking coolant. I wonder what the valley looks like. And who knows how long that coolant was sitting there. It becomes very acidic over time, especially if it's not running and not circulating like it should be and not being replaced like it should be. So this just looks horrible. These springs here, this just points of being stored outside, but I don't know. I mean, was it stored outside and covered? Possibly. Trapping in the the moisture? Who knows, right? This is if it's an Ohio car originally, I don't know. This looks kind of bad here. Looks like it was cleaned up, or somebody attempted to clean it up. You can kind of tell. You can tell right here that the car sat on these NCTs for a while, so there could be some flat spotting going on. You can see that right in here. This is where the car, this is where the tire was underneath here. So, let's see what else we got. Yeah, same situation going on over here. Here's where the tire was sitting for a long time. Got a lot of corrosion going on here on the hooks. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, it just looks pretty severe. I mean, the frame is epoxy coated, but you don't know what's going on underneath that epoxy. And I did notice a few shots, I think where the, oh, here we go. Let's see here. So you got a lot of corrosion going on here. The front sway bar, the bushing brackets, even the radiator brackets, support brackets, those are pretty rusty here. The steering rack is pretty rusty. The control arms are just pretty rusted out. I mean, I don't know if I would drive this car without replacing everything. This doesn't look too bad here, but this might just be the transmission looks pretty clean. I mean, I don't see a lot of the dirt that you normally see on a transmission. Of course, you know, I'm always looking at mine, and mine's got a lot of dirt on it because it's been driven a lot. It collects a lot underneath there. So this doesn't look too bad. CV axle boots look okay. Maybe those were replaced recently, or they've just been well preserved because the car has only been driven 15,000 original miles. You got some stuff going on here. Some residue there. There's the cat. There's the asbestos cover that's fairly been eaten up, which I don't know why with only 15,000 miles. So I don't know what's going on with that. Again, flood car. Who knows, right? This is rusted here. This is the plug, the drain plug for the transmission, gearbox, fuel filter, axle. It doesn't look super bad here. It's got a stainless braided hose right here, I noticed, and that's for this one here, and the hard line accumulator. This accumulator, it doesn't look like the original one. The original ones were all green, I believe, so maybe it was replaced at some point. I don't know. Here's all the peeling of the epoxy right here. See that? Where the frame extension sort of starts. I don't know how invasive that corrosion is beyond what you see here. It could have gotten inside, which is never a good thing. VIN number 10028. Let's see where we're at. 51.5. Oh man. So $51,500 ends in like a minute. So congratulations to the seller on this one. Unfortunately, I just don't think the car is even near that much, especially considering you can probably expect to pay pretty close to that just to get it up to driving condition. I would not put this on the road, at least not with that type of corrosion going on. Who knows? I'd love to have seen some photos with the wheels off just to see what the extent of that is. On the brake components and everything else, and a driving video would have been nice. He's obviously driving it around to take these photos. So we're at 51.5, 5 seconds left. Is it going back up? Oh, 52. Somebody wants it. Let's see who we got here. Bren 10 390X. Oh, he bid on the dealer sign. Interesting. So he wants a DeLorean. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like the last DeLorean that sold on here, which was that automatic, that 82, I believe it was. No, it was an 81, a late VIN 81 automatic. That was in much better shape than this car for sure. Now, that car was not without its issues. I've actually been in contact with the owner of that car, and it did come with a few surprises. So be very careful when you're bidding on these cars. You know, a lot of issues, a lot of problems with the car on that particular one were not disclosed. And let's just say the owner was not happy with that. Okay. There's some invoices here that he's got. Fuel pump kit. So he's replaced the fuel pump kit with the DeLorean Industries unit. That was a $900 deal. What else did he get here? That's $608 for that. He probably got all the bells and whistles. He got the accumulator here. So it looks like the accumulator was replaced. That's why it doesn't look like an original. It would have been great if he had shown what the fuel pump looked like, because on that last car, we had a similar invoice that had, but it included all of the labor. Looks like it's sold. So yeah, $52,000. So congratulations to the seller on this. You really made out. You know, as far as the winner on this goes, I hope you realize that you're going to be spending some serious money to get this thing roadworthy. It looks kind of great superficially, but what's lurking within, that always matters. And he did have the photos, so you know what you were getting into. There's no driving videos. There was a cold startup video. There was a cold startup video on the last DeLorean that sold, and upon receiving it, he could not keep that car running. So who knows what's going to happen, right? So he looked at, he opened up in the front. There's a panel you can remove, and I'll show you what it looks like. It is right here, roughly. You can't see it, but you can remove this panel that's about like right here to expose the fuel pump. And guess what? The fuel pump didn't even have a cover over it. It was just, there was no boot, right? And it was just literally sitting there. He couldn't believe it, right? And there was a $7,000 invoice that showed that the car's fuel system had been gone through completely. Everything had been replaced. I think with the exception of the fuel lines and I think the fuel accumulator, but there was a new fuel pump and all this other stuff. And he ended up having to order the DPI unit, which I think is a more proper unit for the car. It's like a GM style unit, very similar to what you would see at DMC or on the one that we got for the DeLorean Tech car, which is the AC Delco MU1777. This is probably similar. Of course, on this particular car, they're not showing any of those photos, right? So those are photos that you really need to ask for. And it's not very hard for the owner to take those photos because the panel's removable, right? I don't know. I just see a lot of problems with this car. Just very, very much very similar to Beverly Hills Car Club stuff that we've been seeing. Now, is it a good starting point? Not really. You're going to be battling a lot of the corroded suspension components. Then you've got to figure out what's going on with the frame. Here's some more rust on the rear frame cross member that you've got going on here. So we don't know how invasive that is. I mean, the epoxy kind of hides stuff, right? So it's really hard to tell what's going on. There was no mention of extensive rust or anything in the description, of course, because that's going to turn people away. Nobody wants a rusty car, right? But I might be wrong, and maybe it's just superficial here and there. I don't know. But those are red flags when you see that. So I was gonna try to see if I can bring our good buddy Chris Miles into the call here. Let's see if he's available for a chat. He said he was at work, but he may be available. Let's see what we got going on with our chat here. He's not available. Well, hopefully he'll get back to us. Anyway, Comper Tank, was that the original HVAC panel? I know the colors look a little brighter, I noticed. He may have some LED thing going on there, or maybe he's got the Dave McKean unit going on. I noticed that as well in that video, but it could have just been the camera picking up those LEDs, if they're just the basic LEDs in there. I'm not sure. It looked kind of nice though. I guess I scored on mine for 5K last month. Parked since 5,000. Wow. I would agree with that. The cat cover looks like rodents got to it. Okay, yeah, I guess so. What's going on with these prices? Yeah, I know. $52,000, which is quite high. And I keep thinking of Don Stager's Stage 2 EFI that I drove. I was just rewatching that video the other day, and I remember that car ended up selling for $54,000, which is a super bargain compared to what we're seeing right now. That car was very nice. Definitely a driving car. Had the EFI, the Stage 2, all sorts of little bells and whistles, and $54,000. And here is this car selling for $52,000. Now that was about a year ago, I think, but it says a lot, right? It's the only one on Bring a Trailer, and there hasn't been a DeLorean on Bring a Trailer for quite a while now. That last one before the dealer sign, that was another surprise. That, as I mentioned before, when the buyer received it, he was not happy at all, and he has since had to replace a bunch of stuff, and now he's going to DMC, Florida. So I think we got Chris Miles here. Hey, Chris.
Hello. Hi, Todd.
Hey, you're live on DeLorean Tech. So you watching this auction?
Yeah, I just refreshed. It looks like the car sold for $52,000.
Yeah, 52,000. Thoughts, reactions?
Pretty good. I think that's a pretty good price. I mean, I thought there might be some more last-minute bids coming in and extend it out a little bit longer.
Okay. So you've got a different opinion. My opinion is that it went for a little bit on the high side for what it was.
Well, there was quite a few receipts that they included, and I saw a lot of it came from DeLorean Industries. There were some receipts from them. Looks like a few things have been updated, but of course, every DeLorean needs something else than what you get. So I think the auctions are always gonna show strong money because people are always trying to buy one.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just about to say before you called, is that there hasn't been a DeLorean on Bring a Trailer for a while. So it's just one of those things where people, you get your DeLorean goggles, right? Like everybody says, DeLorean goggles. They just see one. Oh man, here's my chance, right? And that chance may not come again. Well, the reality is that more than likely it will come again. But people just jump on these things like, and just worry about what might be lurking within later on. So a good example, like I had mentioned before, was the previous DeLorean. And we've talked about the previous DeLorean that sold on Bring a Trailer, and the owner was not happy at all. He's still not happy. I've talked to him quite a bit since the auction, since he received the car, and a lot of surprises that were not disclosed. And and he had a lot of invoices, I think, too. One invoice was over $7,000 for a complete fuel system like redo. And come to find out, the fuel system was just, had to be replaced.
Right.
So I don't know.
I think my biggest piece of advice is, if you want to buy a DeLorean, you got to see it in person. I mean, I think that's like number one deal. I know people get excited about it, but if you can't go see it, and you're just relying on what the auction says, and hopefully that it's going to be okay.
No, you're right. You're right. Sight unseen, right? That's a huge risk. That's always a huge risk. And the photos and the videos on these auction sites, especially on Bring a Trailer, are really what the seller wants you to see, right?
Exactly.
They're not going to show you videos, the 10 attempts to get the car started before they show that one video where they actually got it started and it actually kept running and didn't die. How many attempts did it take to get that one video, right?
Right.
Who knows? There's walk around videos. Those are easy to do. But what about driving videos, right? There's been a few where they had some driving videos, and an example of a good car that went for a really good price was that Hot Wheels DeLorean about a month or two ago. It was a Stage 2 car, sold for like, I want to say 47, something like that. Very good example, very nice example. It was a known car. It had been in articles and stuff like that. But to see a car like this go for more than that one is very, very surprising.
When there isn't that known history or paper trail on a car, it's harder to verify it.
True.
So, yeah, it's always best to go and look if you can.
Right. So I noticed you did put the Wings Be Cool bleeder kit on here. Just recently, it looks like. Although I don't remember if it was didn't look like it was installed. We'll have to go back and look at the photos. He did replace the control pressure regulator. That's a $500 part. I'd have to look and see if there's a newer one on it or not. What is this? Oh, air conditioning belt. Here it looks like it replaced the louvers, AC and on air conditioning, or the alternator belt. And just a few little odds and ends like the steering column bushing. Let's take a look let's see if he even put that bleeder kit on there. That's a sign that, well, if you're gonna buy something like that, that's because the car probably has overheating issues.
Could be. I like to install them whenever you do maintenance on the cooling system.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing to have, right? It could help you in a bind, right? I mean, because you never know what could happen with the car. It does not look to me like, at least as of these photographs, that kit was not, the bleeder kit was not installed. Well, let's see here. Yeah, the Wings Be Cool, the full bleeder kit. I don't see it on here, so unless they installed it after they took these photos, so.
Yeah, we might want to make sure that the new owner gets it if it was advertised that it had it.
Right. Well, it just shows the invoice. There's not a whole lot of information in the listing as far as what was done. Seller notes corrosion on underbody components. Okay, well, he did say that. Additional underside photos are provided. It's, obviously goes without saying. Once you see those photos, you're gonna know. But how extensive that corrosion is, seeing as how the body is, is coated with epoxy. You never really know what the extent of that corrosion is going to be, and how far within it has gotten itself into. Right. Well, thanks for your input, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'll let you go, and hopefully we'll catch you this coming weekend. Right. We got a brake job to do. Cool. All right, Chris.
All right.
We'll see you in a couple days.
Okay. Sounds
All right.
good.
Later. Bye. So that was Chris Miles. He is going to be helping us out with a big brake kit. So Break Time Episode 2. That would be LS DeLorean's little big brake kit conversion from Flying Miata. We're going to go ahead and do that on Romel Andaya's car, DeLorean Destiny. We'll be filming that one. It won't be a live stream. We'll be filming that one on Saturday and hopefully publish the video soon. Hoping that one goes off without a hitch. He's going to have... he picked up the little big brake kit from Flying Miata. So we have the LS DeLorean adapter kit as well for that. And we're going to go ahead and put everything on there. He's got some 10-inch rotors as well, vented rotors that we're going to put on. So that's going to be a pretty cool installation. But anyway, getting back to this car here. Yeah, again, congratulations to the seller. And let's take a look at the chat. Alrighty, so what do we have in the chat here? Did it have a transmission? Didn't it have a transmission issue? I don't know. They didn't really give you any video of the car driving and shifting. I mean, that's what I would do. When I helped out Dawn Steger's wife, Nancy, sell her car, I took the car out, drove it, made a video with me driving the car, going through every single little thing on the car, and we posted it, and the car sold like almost the same day. And that's really what you should do. I mean, posting these little snippet videos of the car running, that's just not enough anymore, I think. But hey, people, this car took $52,000. So to some people, it probably isn't. It is enough. It's sufficient. But if you don't know a lot about the car, you really want a DeLorean, ask questions, ask for more videos. And I think maybe some of the watchers on this auction did do that, but I honestly I haven't looked at all of the chat feed for this particular one, so I honestly don't know. I just feel like there just wasn't enough. There really hasn't been enough. I think we really need to have more in these auctions for DeLoreans. Thanks, Huff. Appreciate the compliment. He made a killing. Yep, $52,000, effortless. I mean, he spent a small amount of money doing a bunch of small amount of little upgrades and stuff like that. That I guess maybe helped the car out a little bit. I'm thinking. $52,000 is great for if you're selling this car. Scored mine in December for $47K. Swapped to a 3.0 liter PRV EFI Stage 1. Awesome. So that's copper tank. Sounds like you have a beautiful car, copper tank. Yep. Oh yeah, so Chris Zimmerman got his through Toby at DeLorean Northwest. An excellent idea. Very smart thing to do. Felt comfortable not traveling to see that one before purchase. Been very happy with it. Right, because you're buying it from a reputable person, a reputable business. So DeLorean Parts Northwest or DeLorean Service Northwest. You've got DeLorean Motor Company Florida and Midwest that are also moving cars quite a bit, and I would feel very comfortable buying from them. They even come with a warranty, I believe. It's 6 months, something like that. So, but you're really taking a gamble buying on Bring a Trailer. Granted, this guy is paying $52,000, not including shipping, not including, I guess, whatever taxes and stuff. Versus, I think on the DMC site, you're seeing cars go for like $100,000 now, right? Refurbished cars. You could start at 52, but you might end up being at 100,000 when it's all said and done. And all the headaches that come with all of that, all the emotional stress and getting to that point, is it even worth it? Unless you're going to do all of the work yourself and you're totally comfortable doing that, then probably. If you're thinking, well, I'm going to take it to my mechanic and have him fix all this stuff for me, I don't know. That's not something I would do. A lot of mechanics out there that have never even seen the car, they shy away from the car. It's just one of those things that you really need to be prepared when you buy a DeLorean like this one, right? And not having someone nearby. So the last DeLorean, and I keep talking about that one, the automatic that sold here on Bring a Trailer, the owner does not have someone very close. Now he's in Florida, and he is actually on Orlando's, so DMC Florida, on their list to have the car worked on. Can't get it in immediately because they are backlogged, and you're on a waiting list basically. So when your time comes, you got to take your car in. But he thought he was getting a car that was going to be a running, driving car because that's what it was sold as. At least that's what it looked like, right? But unfortunately, there were some major issues with the car that were not disclosed, and one problem leads to another problem. And you think you have that problem fixed, and another one comes up. So you're chasing all of these problems, calling everybody up, and trying to figure out what's going on. If you've ever seen our video, Delivering the Dream, it's a really great video. It's a really cool story about a guy who bought one like that and he had what he called DeLorean goggles. And he poured a bunch of money in the car, and issue after issue would come up. He finally threw his hands up in the air. He sold the car to Beverly Hills Car Club, of all places, and he ended up getting a refurbished car with a warranty from DMC Midwest. And now he just finished putting a KW suspension system on the car. And now he's talking about, stainless steel exhaust and stuff like that, right? So obviously the car has served him well, but you learn your lesson, and hopefully, people are a little bit more careful about buying on these auction sites. Chris Miles seemed to think that, well, 52,000 is not a bad price. So, and maybe it isn't. But I guess I'm a little biased against having sort of discussed this with the previous DeLorean buyer on Bring a Trailer, and the headache he is going through right now, which is unfortunate. But hopefully, once he takes that into DMC, they'll make it right. Of course, it's not going to be cheap. Okay, so I think he paid pretty close to this. I think he paid 51 something. It's an automatic, very nice automatic. It's a late VIN with gray interior. So it looked like a pretty nice car, but unfortunately, again, a lot of stuff not disclosed. And that's what happens. What's the scoop on Beverly Hills Car Club? So Beverly Hills Car Club is in here in Southern California. It's in LA. And they just get they bring in DeLorean. They bring in all sorts of cars. Mainly sports cars, a lot of Ferraris and Porsches and stuff like that. I actually went there when I was shopping for my DeLorean. I wanted to kind of see what they had. I already knew about their reputation, so they bring in cars. A lot of them were what looked like flood cars from like back east or the Midwest or something, and they are well known for just bringing in cars, not doing anything to them, and just selling them and to unsuspecting buyers all over the place, right? And I'm not sure how they acquire so many DeLoreans. So they always seem to have several DeLoreans on hand for sale. But what happened with Beverly Hills Car Club is they got this reputation because the buyers, we're all on social media, so we'll post about our DeLoreans and our purchases and stuff. And over time, it was always bad press about Beverly Hills Car Club. So you're just notorious for selling these cars that are just, they're junk. They're just really bad, and they don't disclose anything. There's usually never a video on their listings, just a bunch of photos. They do show an extensive amount of photos, but a lot of these guys are buying sight unseen, having them shipped. When they arrive, they can't start them up, and it's a mess. So, they're sort of like they're the brunt of every joke when it comes to, buying DeLoreans online is Beverly Hills Car Club, right? So, when I saw this car, it just felt like I was looking at a Beverly Hills Car Club car. Now, once in a while, they will have a DeLorean. It's actually pretty nice. So, there are exceptions. A buddy of mine named Tim Angers has an 83 that he bought from Beverly Hills Car Club, but he did it the right way. So he got Danny Botkin involved in the purchase. Okay, he sent pictures. He went over to Beverly Hills Car Club, test drove the car, looked at it, sent photos to Danny. Danny gave it his thumbs up and immediately had it transported to DMC, California for a full restoration. Okay, and that was a few years ago, but that's really what you would do in a situation like that. Now, and you can talk them down. So Beverly Hills Car Club has been notorious for setting their prices a little on the high side, but they will make you a deal. But again, you have to be very careful what you're getting yourselves into, because those could be flood cars. They're known for that. Okay. So Copper Tank almost bought from BHCC purely out of desperation. And that's exactly it. DeLorean goggles, right? You just, you don't think you're going to get your DeLorean, but the reality is they always come up, right? And you got to have patience. You got to do your homework. I remember when I was looking for mine, I did my homework. You know, I wasn't going to be that guy, right? I swore I would not be that guy that just bought the first one I saw. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Happens. That will get you, right? That happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. But I had done my homework where I talked to guys where that happened to, right? And I decided, no, I'm not gonna let that happen. There was a few times when I really wanted a car. For whatever reason, fate just wouldn't go there for me, right? There was an 81, I think a month before I landed my 83 that I have now, which I was no regrets buying my 83, but I almost bought an 81, and I'm really glad I didn't. But and as it turned out, the guy was very much on the fence about selling it. Otherwise, I would have bought it. So it was just one of those things where it didn't work out, not because I ultimately decided not to get it, but the buyer just didn't want to sell it. But having seen that car, it looked great and everything, and I did have some DeLorean goggles. I overlooked a lot of stuff going on with that car. And in hindsight, I'm very, very glad I did not get that car. I actually ended up getting a sweet 83 for quite a bit less than what that guy was trying to get for his 81. So I got lucky, all right? I mean, I really got lucky. But again, I did my homework. I talked to guys. I talked to the local club here in Southern California. And I actually went to one of their meetings. I actually set up a meeting myself where I can actually ride in their DeLoreans. And they went through the DeLoreans. They told me what to look for. I picked up, you know, the DeLorean guides from, I think there was one from Europe and then one from DMC on what to look for when buying a DeLorean. So I studied those guides religiously. Let's see, what else did I do? I mean, I went and looked at a bunch of cars. I took those guides with me and I inspected many, many cars in person. I went through the cars as much as I could with a fine-tooth comb, asked as many questions as I could, rejected tons of cars, but I always had that feeling like, am I rejecting the one, you know, the car that I need? Am I going to have another opportunity again, right? And after a while, I realized, yeah, I'm going to, because they keep popping up, right? They keep popping up. But again, I feel like I did get lucky on the car I bought. There was no corrosion issues whatsoever. The car has been running well for me. I have not spent hardly any money. I've spent money on it, but things like KW, suspension, and, you know, just newer upgrades. I've been trying to upgrade the car, get it modernization stuff. But the reality is that when I bought my car, it was mainly original. It was mostly original, and it drove great. I remember driving it around basically after I got it. The only thing that it didn't have that needed to be fixed was the AC needed to be recharged. That was it. Otherwise, the car was a great driving car with basically all original stuff. Even the alternator was the Motorola 90 amp. And I drove the car around for a while, just all original. And then I got that itch to start upgrading stuff, right? And, you know, and you've seen all the videos that I've done on the car. So, and that's the kind of money you really should be spending on the car, is safety upgrades and, you know, performance upgrades. And I don't mean just like performance, engine performance. Electrical performance is a big deal on these cars, right? I did have hot start issues at one point, and that was a fun day, right? Doing a parade with hot start issues all day long. What a pain. So, you know, eventually got the hot start relay and the solid state RPM relay, and, you know, replaced tons of stuff with the fuel. So the fuel lines, the fuel pump, accumulator, all that stuff, and haven't had any hot start issues since then. So yes, Beverly Hills Car Club did have some very rusted cars, and from what I understand is a lot of those were flood cars. So cars that had been in floods back east somewhere. We don't get a lot of floods here in California, so I would imagine that the cars got wet and sat in water for a while, and the water just really got into the car. So the cars may have had some corrosion prior to that, but flood cars are really something to avoid, because the corrosion can get very extensive on those, right? And looking at the car outside, from the outside, you're never really going to notice that until you stick your head underneath. And you can see, I've seen enough cars to know a flood car when I see it. This one just kind of looks like one. And you can tell he's tried to clean the car up. So DMC Florida Save Me. Yeah, black 81 black interior automatic. Yep, thinking about stage 2. So those are the things that a new owner should be thinking about. Stage 2 engine upgrades. Not about how am I going to fix my, my problem that I don't even know what the source of the problem is, but my car can't hold idle. Those are not questions. Those are not issues that a new owner should be dealing with. A new owner should be worrying about how much he's going to pay for his stage 2 engine upgrade. Or when is he going to get his, suspension system? Is it going to be the DPI spec suspension, or is it going to be KW? Or is it going to be, Eibach with the Evo shocks? Those are what DeLorean owners should be preoccupied about, not about, what is wrong with my car that I just spent over $50,000 on and I cannot drive it. Okay? And that's happening, and it's happening right now. So, my word of advice before we close this out is you need to do your homework, number one, and your research, and ask questions. If you can avoid buying sight unseen, but what I mean by sight unseen is not just photos. You need to go and see the car in person. So Delivering the Dream Part 2, which was Romel Andaya's car, DeLorean Destiny, he got that car delivered from DMC Midwest, but he actually flew out to Crystal Lake, Illinois, where DMC Midwest is, and he saw the car in person and got to drive it in person. So not just purchasing the car from a reputable source, but actually going out and seeing the car in person. If you're going to buy the car from just anyone, I don't know who the seller is on this one here. I mean, all I have is private party, right? I mean, there's no way I would buy a car sight unseen like this for $52,000. I just would not recommend anyone do that unless you have money to burn, right? Unless $52,000 is like nothing to you, okay? Going out, checking the car out, even if you have to get on a plane to do it, right? And you've got a week on these auction sites. The problem is if they're not putting driving videos and other videos showing the car, showing really what you need to see about the car, there's probably a reason why they're not. Okay, because there really isn't no excuse. You can put tons of videos on here if you want. I mean, the reality is that this particular auction here only had a couple of videos. One was a walk around, big deal. Okay, I mean, that doesn't really do a whole lot when you've got all these photos as well. And then one car with a cold start. Okay, and that was it. And I was kind of joking around a little bit, but not really joking around about, well, how many videos did it take to get that one video where the car starts up and holds idle for 5 minutes or whatever it was? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody really knows, right? And maybe the car does hold idle. Maybe it does start up great. But the reality is that, just based on my experience with these auction sites, it can be misleading. You don't know. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hey, a cheap plane ticket is better than an expensive bad DeLorean. Absolutely. A plane ticket, I don't know, $400, $500. That's a bargain. That is a bargain, right? And obviously there's a risk involved in getting on a plane and going to see a car, that kind of stuff. Now, if it's for an auction, less risk, I think. Less risk because if you can get to that car, see that car before the auction is up, at least you'll be bidding informed, right? And not just, throwing your bids out and crossing your fingers, right? A plane ticket on a for sale might be riskier because that car could be sold while you're on the plane, unless you put a little deposit or make some sort of an arrangement with the seller. Hey, I really want to see this car, but, I live 1,000 miles away and, but you really got to put the work into it, and you really got to be dedicated to getting a good car and not just, rolling the dice. And I feel like that's what's happening now with these auctions here on Bring a Trailer. In some cases, you get a good car, right? I think the best car I saw that recently went for, it was $47,000, was that Hot Wheels DeLorean. That looked like a great car. It was a stage 2, well known. I think the buyer got a great deal on that one. Of course, the next DeLorean I think that sold was the one, the 81. He's having problems with it. He thought it was going to run. He thought he just had some superficial stuff. And that's what it looked like when you're looking at these photos and stuff. That's what it looks like. So anyway, guys, that's the video. There are currently no further auctions on this one. Our next live stream is actually going to be on the 30th of May. So we're going to live stream the DeLorean Evolved reveal. So hope you guys tune in to that. I want to say that the DeLorean Evolved reveal is supposed to take place on May 31st. And if you go to DeLorean.com, you'll have the countdown. So here it is. You got 11 days for this one. So that puts us at about May 30th. Last time I did the math, it was May 30th around 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight on the East Coast. So we're going to do a live stream. Hopefully that works out. So we'll be bringing in a panel of DeLorean community, well-known DeLorean community guys, and we're going to, get a reaction on screen when DeLorean finally reveals what this car looks like. This is a pretty good. So obviously you can kind of tell what it looks like from behind, right? But again, this might be like a CG image or something, and I think that's what they're gonna reveal is a CG model. But I don't know. I really don't know. They did push up the reveal to the end of the month from August, so we're gonna go ahead and live stream that. And yeah, so it should be cool. I hope you guys join us. It'll be kind of fun. I'm still working up the roster as far as who we're gonna have on the panel, but so far it's gonna be Anthony Zamfoti from the DeLorean Evolved Facebook group. So he and I are kind of teaming up on this. And we've also got Roland Hoffman and Ron Ferguson from the DeLorean Owners Association. Chris Miles from DeLorean Tech. He was just on this video here. And yeah, so I hope you join us for that. And once again, thanks for